When was the first time you tuned into All My Children? At certain allure was exuded by the opening theme music. The piano would be the site of their affectionate, but uncomfortable arguments, between Archie and Edith. When you watched this show you would hardly notice that the actors were on-screen. Gloria Archies' free-spirited and outspoken daughter was more than simply his little girl, she was Archie's spokesperson. A different generation, but here's an interesting anecdote that you might not be aware of. Sally Struthers, who plays Gloria, began her career on a breakthrough sitcom. For the sake of argument, let's say that ABC decides to air live All in the Family in 2019. Envision a contemporary audience watching a classic episode performed live by actors in their iconic roles. Sally Struthers would presumably be present. Even if Sally's reaction was unexpected, fans of All in the Family would be overjoyed. Her response was unfiltered. What's the point? It's a classic. She wasn't implying any disrespect or negativity. She only believed that the enchantment could never be replicated in such a way. It was during the time that All in the Family was released that it was. We had the perfect cast and writers for Sally. According to her, All in the Family wasn't just a TV show, it was a phenomenon. It was bold, controversial and raw, in a way that TV had never been before, and no live performance, no matter how good, could capture what the original show had. Was she correct? Is there anybody who could play Edith Sally instead of Jean Stapleton, or Archie Bunker instead of Carol O'Connor? Consider no one will ever top Carol, but then again no one will ever top Jean Stapleton. Either it wasn't merely skill, the ensemble had chemistry, they fit together like a jigsaw puzzle, but where did Sally even begin to fit into all of that? We should start from the beginning. Famous TV star Sally didn't always exist. Less challenging, or more typical, Portland, Oregon, was the site of her birth, on July 28, 1947. Not quite a picture-perfect upbringing. Her parents divorced when she was 17 years old, after they had already separated. While she was in third grade, though he practiced medicine, her dad wasn't always present because of how much she cared for him. Sally concocted a ridiculous justification for him to drop by and see how she was doing. She might have had her acting debut in a minor role-playing game. After realizing she disliked cutting people open, Sally changed her mind about following in her father's footsteps and becoming a doctor. After developing an interest in art, she was even awarded a scholarship to pursue it. However, she eventually came to the realization that art was also not her calling. She yearned for a greater purpose. At that point, she discovered acting. Finally, Sally's application to the College of Theatre Arts at the Pasadena Playhouse was successful. A scholarship helped her get in. While performing at the Pasadena Playhouse, Sally devoted herself to acting, taking on roles ranging from those of young children to elderly ladies. To become a superb actor, she had to study dialects, makeup and everything else. It was still difficult for her to get into the Hollywood industry. After finishing her schooling, she made an effort for 3 years to put food on the table. She did double duty as a receptionist, waiter and popcorn vendor at a movie theater. No matter how many times she tried out for jobs, she never got her big break. On the bright side, Sally landed 2 small roles in 1968, but unfortunately neither of them saw the light of day. Then she experienced a series of unfortunate events that could have crushed anyone's will. The company she worked for chose not to air the commercial she booked. Unfortunately, she never got to film her scene because the Jonathan Winter program was cancelled before she could have her part. She had no idea how she was going to pay her bills after her father passed away, and she was deep in debt. Fortunately, Sally had a break when everything seemed lost. A small role in 5 Easy Pieces, starring Jack Nicholson. As soon as word got out about her, doors began to open for her. She landed a few TV gigs, one of which was playing Pebbles Flintstone on Pebbles and Bamboo Bam. Things seemed like they were finally starting to turn around for a time, but 1971, when Sally tried out for a new sitcom called All in the Family, was the actual turning point. Nothing else on television could compare to it. Taking on controversial topics like racism, misogyny and generational conflict, the show was bold and cutting-edge. For its day, Norman Lear, the show's creator, sought out an ideal actress to portray the independent and controversial daughter of Gloria Archie. Bunker Norman noticed Sally at the audition because she possessed the charisma, wit and energy he was seeking. The remainder of her life revolved around her landing the role. Sally had no idea how huge All in the Family would become until this scene, but it would be her big break. Little did she realize that she was about to make television history. All she knew was that she had an opportunity to prove herself. After beating out nearly 100 other actresses for the part, she stepped onto the set with a mix of enthusiasm and nerves. The courageous and generous daughter of Archie Bunker, Gloria, her acting chops were a big factor, but her charisma was also a deciding factor in her casting. When asked about her brief relationship with her on-screen husband Rob Reiner, Sally could joke that it was just a fling before they tied the knot. It was the kind of bizarre coincidence that would happen only in the film industry. There were a lot of obstacles and new things to learn in the beginning of the shoot. Sally immediately recognized the show's danger. All in the Family wasn't your typical feel-good comedy, rather it confronted racism, misogyny, and politics directly, frequently shocking audiences. Gloria was more than simply a friend to Sally, thus this was thrilling and challenging for her. At one point, Gloria was supposed to be Archie's sworn enemy, or a staunch advocate for her husband's views. She lacked complexity and was frequently torn between her husband and her father, taking a side without really speaking up. Even though Sally had a blast portraying Gloria, she couldn't help but wonder whether the role had more depth. She intended Gloria to be strong-willed and opinionated, but she repressed such desires. While the program was still popular, so viewers only saw a more polished version of her character. It became quite popular. I tell you, the first season of All in the Family got off to a sluggish start, but by the show's conclusion it had become the town gossip. She bridged the gap between her father's traditional values and her husband's progressive ones, guiding Archie's wild ideals, Edith's innocent sweetness, and Gloria. Viewers adored Sally because she lent genuine warmth and emotion to the character. The show's meteoric rise to fame didn't help Sally overcome her annoyance with Gloria's restricted choices. As opposed to Archie, Edith, and Mike, Gloria frequently felt like a supporting figure. Gloria was more than a role to Sally. She wanted to give Gloria a life of her own, not merely that of Archie's daughter or Mike's wife. A few seasons in, Sally saw that she needed to speak out more for Gloria's development if she wanted the show to continue. Yes, she did. She expressed her concerns to the producers and requested that they give Gloria greater complexity. It's a real woman with hopes, weaknesses, and a distinct sense of self. Sally hoped Gloria would feel that the writers didn't listen at first, but after some time Gloria's character began to shift. Due of Gloria's newfound realism, the alterations benefited Sally as well. As a result, Sally felt a stronger connection to the role, and she took great pride in bringing the character to life in a manner that resonated with audiences. People would actually yell Gloria's name and ask about Archie and Mike, as if they were real people. As Sally walked down the street, fans were so convinced by her on-screen marriage to Archie and Mike. They frequently mistook each other for being married. According to Rob Reiner, some people still didn't believe Sally when she said her actual husband was someone else. There were advantages and disadvantages to being on such a successful show. Sally and her co-stars had to maintain a prominent public profile, as they could no longer avoid being seen in public. Even when things were rough, Sally managed to have a wonderful time on the show. Among her collaborators were industry heavyweights Jean Stapleton and Carol O'Connor. As Sally's co-star Carol, Archie became more than just an actor, he became a second father figure. Sally was still suffering the death of her own father when she began working on the show, which was not long before she began. Carol embraced her, offered sound counsel, and provided unending support as she made her way onto the set. Sally went on to say that she felt like she gained a new family while working with Carol and his wife Nancy. Their bond was further solidified when he introduced her to her spouse. Sally was profoundly impacted by Jean Stapleton's portrayal of Edith. On and off set, she admired her poised strength and quiet confidence. In real life, Jean is modest and sweet, and Sally appreciated her for giving Edith such depth on screen. Sally frequently credited Jean with teaching her the power of nonverbal communication. Over time, Sally gained confidence in her position and a deeper appreciation for her family's contributions. It wasn't just It did more than just amuse, it provoked thought, sparked debates about serious topics, and helped viewers consider alternative viewpoints. Sally took great pride in being a member of a groundbreaking program that challenged convention, having played Gloria and Mike for nearly 10 years. Sally and Rob Reiner were prepared to move on by the late 1970s. Although Sally was eager for a fresh start, it was disappointing that Mike did not wish to renew her contract. She had a soft spot for the program and her co-workers, to prove to herself and the world that she was capable of more than just playing Gloria. She yearned to test out other parts. However, the effects of All in the Family lingered with her. Sally continued to use the knowledge she gained from the show in her subsequent endeavors. The chances it had presented her with and the experiences she had were gifts she would be eternally grateful for. She came to understand the profound impact All in the Family had on people's life. When long after the program had finished, viewers would still approach her in public. Fans adored Sally for her portrayal of Gloria, and the show itself went down in television history books. Sally showcased her acting versatility after leaving All in the Family by hopping into a number of other roles. One of the earliest films to address domestic violence on network television, Intimate Strangers, was her subsequent major break. She got an opportunity to discuss a serious problem and show fans another side of her acting when she played a physically abused housewife, which was completely different from her part as Gloria. She began to use her platform to address real-life issues, shifting her focus from acting to speaking out. Acting in comic, dramatic, and even voice acting roles was just one more way Sally surprised her fans. Can you recall the Pebbles and Bam program? Sally, in her adolescent years, is portraying Pebbles Flintstone. She continued to demonstrate her formidable voice acting chops in subsequent roles, such as those in Tailspin and Among Dinosaurs. The actress maintained a successful career, thanks to her talent for relating to viewers of various demographics. Although Sally was renowned mostly for her acting roles, she also became an ambassador for Child Fund, formerly the Christian Children's Fund. Those touching commercials, with Sally addressing the audience personally about the significance of becoming a Child Fund sponsor or learning more about the organization, may still be memorable. For Sally, the condition of impoverished children around the world was brought to light via her years of labor. It was more than just a job, it was a calling. She enthusiastically seized the opportunity to make a significant impact, citing her grandmother as the source of her desire to serve others. Sally managed to fit in time for the people she loved and her family, so it wasn't all work in her life. William Rader, a psychiatrist, was her husband. Samantha was born to them in 1977. Sally remained devoted to her daughter and concentrated on juggling her job and parenting despite their divorce. A few years down the road, it wasn't always easy, but Sally approached it with the same tenacity she exhibited in all of her 1980s roles. In 9 to 5, the TV series adapted from the hit film in which she starred gave her a return to television. Simultaneously, she brought her humorous flair to the office comedy. In her role as Marcia McMurray Shrimpton, she was featured in the female-led adaptation of Neil Simon's famous play The Odd Couple, in which she made an appearance. Sally overcame the hardship of touring for the show, which required her to be away from home, because acting was more than simply a profession to her. It was a love she was unable to fathom a life away from performing. From her breakout role in Annie to her portrayal as Dolly Levi in Hello Dollar's 50th anniversary tour, Sally became a mainstay in American theater. Theater allowed her to showcase her range and reconnect with the reason she fell in love with acting, the opportunity to engage with live audiences. She has maintained her appearance schedule even in recent years. As Babette Dell, Sally introduced her trademark charm and wit to the eccentric hamlet of Stars Hollow, while also maintaining her reputation and abilities in the entertainment industry through her appearances in Young Frankenstein and Gilmore Girls. The eccentric big-hearted neighbor was a hit with audiences of all ages, but it was especially meaningful to younger viewers because it was their debut to Sally's acting career. Whenever Sally met a mother, a daughter, in 2024, she delighted to learn about the bond they had over Gilmore Girls and the special moments they had shared with her. A Man on the Inside, a Netflix comedy starring Sally, Ted Danson, and an incredible ensemble brought Sally back into the limelight, with her portrayal of Virginia, a courageous and energetic member of a retirement home. The fact that a cast of seasoned performers was working on the movie inspired Sally. She regarded it as a blessing, particularly in the hushed years following Gilmore Girls, as it served as a reminder that her charisma and abilities were still relevant in the modern entertainment industry. Sally has weathered the storms of her career with grace and thankfulness, no matter how bad things became. Not only did All in the Family catapult her to stardom, but it also imparted valuable storytelling skills. The advice she received from Gene Stapleton, Carol O'Connor and the rest of the ensemble served her well in every part she played. Sally continues to move at a rapid pace. She keeps showcasing her talent to the public, whether it's on stage, in front of the camera, or providing her voice to a character. Rest makes Russ her simple philosophy, and she certainly isn't going anywhere.